What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you for hanging out with us today. You are tuned in to the Get Shorty After Show for Pest Control. Okay, Miles is clearly losing his mind. Can Amara really trust Rick? And Gladys and Louis getting married? Oh my God, y'all. Stay with us.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, here we go.
Come on with the light. Shout out to our engineer, Josh. Hi, Josh. It's a real thing going on over here.
Oh, was that an air horn I heard?
They have all the instrumentals going on. I cannot do this alone. Come on, next to me we have the amazing, the one man encyclopedia.
Wow, I appreciate that.
The real life American gangster. I'm just kidding. Tenera, come on, introduce yourself.
That's your boy Tenera Williams. Thanks for coming back and hanging out with us today.
Yes. So give me your overall thought of this episode, because this is a lot.
Man, so just a lot going on, First of all, Miles getting his movie done, going through that whole process. I don't know. I got some comments for you when we get to that, but no, I thought it was just a good. Love the writing, love the acting, just progressing this story. So it gave us a lot to chew on for tonight. A lot. So.
I mean, I'm still chewing.
Right?
I am chew. Okay, break down my food
Mouth
for me.
Mouth is full. Like,
Break down my food for me, because this is a lot. And since you brought up Miles, he's truly losing it. Oh my goodness! But I really just want to dive right into this film and recutting this film. And the task that he has ahead of him. First of all, I thought it was really interesting the fact that he immediately took charge of this and was very confident with himself as to what's going to come, right? But I also noticed when he stood up to Amara, and he really put his foot down, and that was a real shocker for me. What did you think of that?
I thought that was actually a really funny point in the episode for me, because when he did it, you could just kind of tell everybody was coming at him with their ideas, and he was like, look, we're not doing that, we're doing this. And she said something, I forgot the line she said. Oh no, she wanted to take the scene out, she was like, oh, we can take it out. And he was like, no. And then he could kind of tell it was like he said it like in that tone, and then he realized who he was talking to, and it was just kind of like he reeled it in and was like, no, this is what we're gonna, this is why. And it was just like
he definitely had to double back and do like a rephrasing.
It was one of those things like I kind of referenced it to, if you ever got like mad with your parents or something, and you would lash at, say like, Mom, like this, and then you realize like
who you're talking to.
Then you're like, you know what? Can I get that? Can I get that back? Because I know.
Can I get that?
That was
just one
not
syllable
what
back?
I really meant to do.
Absolutely. And I thought that it was already crazy for him, because he's under all this pressure for the Santa Barbara Film Festival. And then Amara comes in and, gives him 24 hours. And in those 24 hours, a lot happens. I feel so bad for Fran, the editors.
Oh, man.
And poor Roger, the editing assistant.
I mean, you already, everybody's already just under the gun to get these projects done. So when you get added pressure, and you got 24 hours to do this, and putting in the situation like we're dealing with gangsters and monster people who are just highly like hair trigger people. Like it takes one thing, like I could take you out type. It's like you said, for her to be thrown in that, and the little assistant editor.
Absolutely. And then let's just talk about let's not even skip over the fact that like Roger was like dealing drugs,
right,
like out here giving him Adderalls. But I definitely feel like a couple things shine through in this scene for me, and that was just how deep this really means to Miles. You know what I mean? It's more than just a project. It's more than just a passion project. Like this is a real thing for him.
Right.
But in the midst of all of that, I thought it was really wonderful that no matter how high the pressure gets, no matter how important he has, like his timeline is, no matter what he has to do to appease Amara or Rick or whoever else, or even April, he stops everything when Shorty calls. And he had to leave to go get his daughter for field hockey when Katie called him. So I'm very excited about that, but it also shows that who's most important to Miles,
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. That's the human element that comes back, and that vulnerability of these characters. like you said, do whatever, doing the stuff that he's into, editing the movie, just treating people wrong, disrespecting people. But then, like you said, when that happened, I honestly thought, I was like, is he just going to be like, I can't today? But he did. He dropped it. You know what I'm doing? I'll be right over there. I'm going to get her, and then talking with the girls, like, hey, we're going to ride.
I was just going to say that Caroline is so cute. The girl who plays Shorty, she's so, so cute. And I just love that we see from episode to episode. Last episode, he was trying to really rekindle that relationship with his teenage daughter. And now you see that they're making a little bit of progress, right? He makes the joke about like Taylor Swift, and he stays pretty current. So I love that relationship continues to develop the way it is in front of our eyes.
And he just can't, like you said, the ups and downs and just with Miles, which is, why it's so intriguing. He's doing the thing with his daughter, then, Katie gives him the papers, and you're like, oh, right now? Like, I'm trying to deal with the movie, and now you're serving me with this. And not only are you serving me with them, now you want full
custody. First of all, shout out to Lucy Walters, because she's just amazing. Like, just, I love her, and I love seeing these little like crossovers from Power, like all like your stars who like died or reincarnated on here. But anyway, she's just amazing in everything that she does, and I love the way that she tried to like slip that in. It was like, oh, it's on page 2, no big deal. And even in her eyes and in the way that she was clutching her chest, you could tell that she was a little nervous that he would have a problem with giving over full custody.
Right.
And I just really don't know. They've really taken a big turn for me. I didn't realize things would go this abrupt so fast.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like you said, because of the situation that he was in. Hey, I'm picking up my daughter. I'm about to take her.
Yeah.
You're giving me this, so I can't really just full on blow up because I got kids here, and that probably wouldn't. And I don't know, maybe if she kind of knew that, like, hey, if I'm gonna do this while the kids are here, he can't go off or do something.
I thought it was definitely tactful.
Yeah.
She definitely did that,
So it's, and like you said, you could kind of even tell in his face, it was like maybe he wanted to, but he was like, hold it together. Because if she's already asking for full custody, I'm just thinking he blows up, she would be like, he's not a fit. But, there's no way the daughter could.
You think that was okay for her to ask for full custody? How would you handle that? Because you're a dad. Granted, he has a happy home.
Right. It's, from the way that he's trying to build a relationship with her, you definitely would have thought, and he even mentioned it. He's like, I thought we were going to do shared. For her to kind of ask for the full custody, I think he was kind of thinking like, that's a little dirty right there. I thought, I
thought it was just
and the way that he said, oh, you're trying to take her from, you're going to take her from me, and I could relate to that. It's just like, man, if you're, I don't know, you kind of feel like if, that he could, even though she said, oh no, you'll definitely be like part of her life and you can visit as much as you want. If you get the legal full custody, I feel like anything could kind of happen.
Anything can change that. Yeah, anything can happen.
And if she technically has a full custody, you could just be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Because who says you don't get into another relationship and then he's another golf star trying to take your daughter out for golf camp or whatever the situation may be, and you have full custody. Right. And I honestly was a little taken aback by Katie for requesting full custody, because it'd be one thing if Miles was an absentee father or something along those lines, but he is so devoted to Shorty. Right. He loves his daughter so much, and he can't help the situation he was born into, and he's kind of like had to muddle his way from Ireland and to Vegas and really trying to make a name for himself, but more than a name, trying to build his character when it comes to this, so he can do something that his daughter can be proud of. Right. So I felt like it was a little shady, more than a little shady for her to just slip in full custody.
And that's why I think he kind of was giving her the side eye a little bit. Like, I feel like he would have been okay with it. Like, hey, got him. Let's, everything else seemed to be okay. But that was the one kind of sticking point. Which,
you think he's like over the relationship at this point?
With that coming in, especially that, the whole custody thing coming in, that might be a little like.
I think I agree with you. Because the custody thing, but also because of him hooking up with April. And we're going to get there. It's just like, that's what I'm thinking, because I always felt like he and April had an attraction, right? They've always had this attraction. But I feel as though if Katie did not slam the door shut on their relationship with the divorce papers, with the custody, that might not have happened, Yeah,
it'll be, yeah, like you said, when we get into that what happened there, because I don't know if that was fully him or is that some of the the drugs speaking. And it was just
okay,
so
so the drugs and Roger, he really lost his mind on these editors. Like he even lost his mind on Louis a little bit because you had those moments where Louis is like agreeing with the things that you are saying, Miles. Miles has never edited anything in his life. He's a real movie producer now, but he's not an editor. That's so much work. People really hone their craft when it comes to that. And he says to Louis, I'm not an editor, and he goes, oh, you're right, and then he gets upset.
Right.
He's truly just on edge with everyone.
And I knew when he started popping those things, and I was like, ooh, this is not going to be a good situation. He's just lashing out at people, like you said, the whole Louis situation when he's like, I've never been an editor. What does that mean? Well, you haven't.
Yeah,
I'm speaking a fact. This isn't like I'm
call a fact
right.
a fact. But I will have to argue it a little bit just because prior to him taking the pills. Because you've been blaming a lot of this stuff. We can blame a lot of the stuff on the pills, Miles. But prior to even taking it, whatever tension is going on with him and April was already going on when she walked into the room to introduce Reed Jennings, who's the new Gravity executive.
Right.
He had a problem with that. And he said something to the tune of...
Reed.
He said something to the tune of like April is abandoning him. So let's get into it. What is this whole thing with him and April? Do you think there's something real there or what?
I think, like you said, when that first happened, he was heard about it, and not just on the work level, but I believe there was there was some personal feelings there, and because when Reed came in, it was like, oh, that's great. Everything he had was a very short answer. He was very short with him, like, oh, I'm trying to get focus on this movie, but it was a little more than that. So.
It definitely was. And Megan Stevenson, who plays April, is just the cutest. I feel like the way she throws shade, because I'm from Houston, Texas, sis. The way she throws shade, I'm like, are you a Southern sister like me? Like, what's going on? She literally came in and was like, it smells like people in here. I was like, ooh.
Right.
It smells like must.
Right. And it was, I feel like because in the first season, like she definitely kind of came in, and when she was talking with Ray Romano's character. I can't remember his name.
Rick, absolutely.
Rick. There was kind of time before she had, when she was dealing with him, where I felt there was a little, just the way she would talk, it would be super nice,
throws shade
but she
like
would
that.
always be like, yeah, so no.
Walks in, won't even sit on the couch, won't even sit in his office. Like.
Right. And so, I mean, Miles was kind of, it's interesting because I feel like he throws some back at her, and like she's always taken back, like but in a way, I don't know if she's maybe like, I like that,
That's what I'm saying. It's this tit for tat thing, right? Because we even see Miles and Katie's relationship. It was always rough. There was always a little cat and mouse dance there. So it seems like that's that's kind of the the theme here, and that's what they have between one another.
They're both very kind of straight. They stand their ground on things and kind of straightforward. She's just very nice about it, and just kind of throws it in like, oh no, I'm not going to do that, or and he's just very blunt, like So I think they're a little more alike than maybe they want to believe, or So.
True. And if there was ever somebody who can really go toe to toe with him, it would be April, because she's a tough woman in this business. She's been in this business, and like she said, she's been working her way up at Gravity for a while. So she works with those kinds of producers or directors who are very like, not, I'm not sugarcoating things for you. So she can kind of deal with that. But I think in the midst of all of this, I thought it was kind of wonderful that they're arguing, they're doing this cat and mouse thing, you're like, are they mad at each other, what's happening? And then they were able to be vulnerable. And I feel like in the entire season, this is the first time we've really seen Miles be honest with not just someone else but himself about what's really going on. Because the second she introduced the book that she was reading, he really opened up to her and was like, I am lost, and I don't think that I'd be able to deal with it if this film didn't come out to be amazing, pretty much, And I thought that was great because she was able to share with him as well, like, listen, I'm nervous about my new job. It could be a mistake. So these are the little things that we're seeing here,
Right.
and these are the beginning parts of like emotional intimacy.
Right. No, and that's part of the ever evolving character of Miles. I mean, it's always, there's just these little nuggets where you kind of see his, like I said, just his human side, despite this kind of cutthroat, well, coming from his original business and then even being in Hollywood where it's very cutthroat, but he still has that human factor where he can be, where, like you said, he'll open up every now and just be like, you know what? Yeah, I need help.
And he comes out of nowhere too when he does it, because like, didn't you just insult me into helping you? He was like, it's your note. I'm like, it's my note. Do you want help? Like, how is this gonna work?
And that's like you said, it's just that. Man, and it's like he flips a switch. I mean, he could be totally mad, and then all of a sudden, like, yeah, I need help, or just be like talking, be like, yeah, get out. You'll probably be busy, so we can't talk. And it's like, wait, did we not just do it on the couch?
First of all, you know what? Let's just go ahead, because as they're building emotional intimacy, ladies and gentlemen, they are also building all kinds of physical intimacy. What was that?
I knew.
You should have seen. Trey looked at me. He was like, "What is happening?" I was like, "What is happening?" We both were just like, "Wait a minute."
Goodness. When I was watching that, like I said, when he came in for the hug, I was already like, if he gives, he gave the little kiss on the cheek, and I knew, I was like, next one, they're about to go. I didn't know it was going to lead to that. I thought maybe they just get like a little passionate kiss, and maybe he'd be like, oh, was that awkward or something? I'm sorry, And they just went full on in, and next scene she's like no shirt on, and I'm like, wow, on the couch, like you waking up.
Guys, we're talking April and Miles. You know what I mean? In case you just came in, April and Miles on the couch having sex for the first time.
And then she kept it gangster because she was like, yeah, I got my first day of my work at my new job, and I'm here on the couch.
She's doing it. She's doing it. But I think that again, you got to bring things back to home, and Davy Holmes just really does amazing. He does an amazing job, of just like entering these little lines to show the vulnerability of these characters. Mm-hmm. So after all of that is going on and they're having the back and forth, she really says to him, like, I thought you were just a thug. I thought you were just a mob guy, but turns out you're a producer, pretty excellent one. So I thought that was just like, hearing that was really important for him, because he couldn't even sit through his actual, the actual like watching of the film, So like, what were your thoughts on that?
It's, the whole film watching was a funny scene as well. I mean, everybody saw that, he goes in, he's probably obviously nervous about like, oh, how's this going to go? And I mean, the turning point for me was when, he comes back in after it's over, everybody's clapping, and Ray Romano is like, or Rick's like, that was fine, and he's like, you can see the Ray,
fine.
Like, like I just spent 20 hours straight in the editing, but I'm sure in Miles's mind, like, no, like, and he was like, no, it was good. You took it from a 1 to a 5, and you could just tell his whole ego was hurt, and yeah, it was.
He wants a good movie, not a fine movie or anything along those lines. Like, mediocre is just not good enough for Miles.
He probably felt, for the amount of work that I put in for this, I'm gonna need. I thought this was a lot better, but like I said, I don't know in terms of for what they did. Maybe I don't know if it was that.
I mean, coming from what the Viking left us with the voiceovers, I think he did a good job bringing it there. But again, just true to his character, he does not want fine. Fine is not good enough. Excellent is what he's going for.
It's funny because I feel like I would have been good saying like, hey, especially with Amara there, like, hey, if this can sell, she can get her money, all that. Like, let's just handle that and get that part taken out. Like, I just wanted to make sure she's okay, or Rick's like, hey, we can sell this, you get your money. I would have been like, cool, but he's now on that plane where he's like, no, I want
it to be good.
I want greatness.
Yeah, it really took me back to when he was even explaining to Amara last season, like, look at what we did. Look at what our hard work has paid off to being, Which again is his
just evolving in terms of, like you said in the beginning, getting into, man, I just want to make this money or pay off this debt. Now it's like, no.
I want to be great at this.
Exactly.
I want to be wonderful at this. This is important to me. Exactly. But we can't skip over Louis, okay? We cannot skip over Louis, because Louis, every freaking single episode, he comes through with the best friend award. Like, we need a whole cheer for him, because he came in right when he was done, when Myles and April were done doing the deed.
Right.
He comes in with a clean shirt, giving him the heads up. Amara's on the way, So Louis is always on it, and I think we really have to give a big shout out to him for that.
Oh, always. And like you said, he just adds that little, always, every time, whether it's the small little things that he does, but he's like you said, that friend that just kind of keeps you on track.
Yeah.
Like you said, here's the shirt, clean yourself up. She's coming in. Get yourself together, type thing.
Yeah.
So,
and Sean Bridges, who plays Louis, is just such a timely comedic actor. He just hits those times really well, and I really love that about him.
And it's so funny. I find that he's so good at like keeping Miles like on track, but then in his own life, like
his own life isn't a mess. We're gonna have to double back to him because his life is a mess. But going right into the film, even Louis was impressed. You know what I mean? Everybody was pretty impressed. But Rick and Amara, like, we really have to talk about it. The episode is called Pest Control, rightfully so. And we all really know the pest that Amara is looking for. It's Rick. Like, what is going on here? Like, is she gonna find out about him? He literally looked her in the eyes and lied to her.
That's and those type of people, like Amara type people, gangsters in that world, where it's like you said, I mean, when she looked at him, or that one scene where she was sitting on the bed and he just woke up and she was already just like staring at him. I was like, first of all, right there, I would have been like, what's going on? You know? But yeah, they're the type of people where you don't want to. Don't want to lie to those type, because like you already seen, she has the short fuse. Like she'll take people out in a second.
In a very calm way too. And the thing about Rick,
so he's definitely playing with some fire with her.
This is more than fire. This is more than fire, And I feel like Rick is very much still afraid of Amara, in my opinion, because even when he heard that Tammy, the housekeeper, didn't work for her anymore, he knows exactly what that means. You know what I mean? Even her getting rid of George in the beginning, that brings us back. That brings us back to knowing who Amara is. And she asked him a very simple question: "This is your job. Can you fix it?" She didn't want a maybe. She wants a yes or no. And the second he could not deliver that certain yes, she killed him. That was it. And he knew what was to come too. So I just think that Rick is truly playing with fire. But at the same time, I'm a little taken aback because when he looked her in the eyes and said, "You can trust me," for a second, I almost believed him. I almost believed him because I'm starting to think that he's already been falling for Amara. He told her in the cabin last season, like, "I missed you and I like you more than I, want to admit." But now it's really real. Is
he gonna completely flip or be just like, I can't go with the feds?
I don't know. I don't know if he can flip because Amara is such a scary human being. If you tell her that, okay, I've been lying to you this whole time, it's really hard to salvage that trust. Right. But at the same time, I feel like he really is starting to care a lot for her because you can tell in the way that she's treating him, kicking Tony out of the room and just like trusting it. Right. I really feel like this might be a thing. But
yeah, no, it's I think it could get messy, It
really can.
We shall see. But for sure, he's definitely putting himself in a tough position, and to see how, like you said, I thought maybe there was going to be something tonight where they might get a lead on him, or people might be looking at him real sideways.
But people are because I'm big shout out, man. The crew is growing, okay? Because big shout out to Ed.
Indeed.
Shout
out to Ed.
Big shout out to Ed, because Isaac Keys, who plays Ed, is quickly becoming like the brains of the operation. When Amara is sitting down with Yago and with Ed and sitting down just talking about like who came into her office, she immediately looks to Ed for answers. Like, and he's given the answers. But one thing that really impressed me about his character, Isaac Keys, is when he sat down with Rick, you would think he was a lawyer. Like, he went straight to, when was the last time you were in Amara's office? Right. It's like, then Rick,
it was almost seeing like, are you going to tell on yourself?
Are you going to tell on yourself? But he's picking up skills. I feel like everyone around Amara is starting to pick up those little tactics. Right. We've definitely seen Miles hone those tactics, and now we're seeing Ed hone those tactics as well. But I don't know about Yago.
But he's always so ice cold when he does it. I mean, just like staring at people, like you said, you feel like maybe he definitely, because that's the way like Amara does people. Exactly. She'll look you right in the eye and ask you direct questions.
Very calm about it too. Yeah,
and just sometimes we'll just sit in silence, which I know for a lot of people that'll make people nervous. If you just like don't say anything for a little bit and just stare at them, it's like what's going, and it's like they can read people like that. I mean, I feel in that business you have to be very good at reading people. And
it definitely worked. I think Ed is on to Rick because when he sat down with him and said, "When was the last time you were in Amara's office?" The first thing Rick said is like, "It's locked." So you've tried to go in there. So that's what I mean. Those think like a lawyer tactics. You got a little Annalise in you. I see. But let's move on to Goya Ramos, who plays Yago. I just love that he's really fishing for Tia's attention, Tia's approval. And again, about Ed, just last thing, it's like, not only is he smart, not only is he becoming the mastermind, not only is he really tactful in the way that he's asking these questions, but he's also very insightful, because he's also looking at Yago like, are you trying to make up for what happened in in Nevada? Like, what are you trying to compensate for or overcompensate for,
right.
you know?
And it was funny because, like you said, Yago's responses were just like, she's trying to put that on me? What'd she say, though? You know, like, I was trying to double back, like, trying to act hard, but then, like, but really what happened? Tell me, Yeah. And like you said, Ed just kind of looks like, just and keeps doing his thing.
The plan to rob the home honestly started off as a bad one, but it ended up turning up to be pretty well. It turned out really well. They were able to, pay off their, cartel a little bit. But interestingly enough, Yago was able to meet up with this new cat, the LA cat, the LA liaison. And he finds out that Blizz, his friend, wasn't killed by Los Angeles. So I think that really opens the door for him to things are going to start to unravel, and he's going to realize, whoa,
right.
Who killed my friend?
Right.
It was, yeah.
Well, going back even to the actual robbery when they were taking stuff, I just thought that was such a funny scene because all that stuff was so, like you said, just like classic, like original. When they were just like the Maltese Falcon, like what? And the guy was like Star Wars, and he was like, no, that's the Millennium Falcon. Because you're just looking like, wow, that is like movie
expensive
like royalty.
Stuff, yeah.
I mean, just like one of a kind type stuff, and they're just like, what is this? I don't know, like dropping stuff and breaking it. You're just like, holy moly. So no, that was and like you said, I feel like that's just even kind of Ed knew what the stuff was. So he was like, whoa, this, and he was pointing out certain items. But they just
Shout out to Ed, man. Ed is really like coming through.
He's like the Renaissance man. He's like, I'm cultured, like I'm a gangster, but it's like I know what this is, and you never seen this movie.
You never seen this movie. And then Ed is also like sitting down, like like telling. And I literally love Goya Rubbles. Like I love the energy he brings to the stage, and he's so smart, so funny. But he tries so hard, and Ed is just like the total opposite. Where it's like, oh, you can handle that. Get a U-Haul.
Right.
You got it. Like, okay, well, you go ahead and tell us what else we can handle at AfterBuzz. Let's just go ahead and segue into these beautiful topics we have for the people.
Hey, AfterBuzzers, we appreciate you, and our network produces after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. So what we're doing is we're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. So hit that subscribe button for this channel and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments, and we'll thank you on air. And for now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us to be the ESPN of TV Talk.
That was wonderful. Speaking of wonderful, what is going on with Gladys and Louis? Now it's time. Dun dun dun.
These two,
I'm obsessed.
I classify them almost in like the country bumpkin kind of category. I mean, it's just so silly, the stuff that they're going through. I mean, first of all, Louis's idea. I mean, and when he's explaining to her, like,
fill the people in though. Fill the people in though. Give them a little background.
So first of all, he's she's obviously pregnant, but now he wants to kind of, I guess, justify or.
Yeah, because basically
based on the Mormon religion, like kind of go
the
by
chastity law. So
yes.
He can't really have sex before marriage. So
right.
His whole idea about getting around that is, well, let's just get married and tell no one that we're married, right. So that way we can have sex when we want to, but also get to know each other and decide if we want to have a family, which is crazy,
right? And the thing is, like,
but kind of makes sense too.
And the funny part is, he says this idea, so she looks at him. Kind of like, wait, what do you want to do? So she's kind of thinking like, you're crazy. But then doubles back later and was like, you know what? Just so I get, like, basically she gets the rules straight. Like, so you're saying this and X, Y, and Z. Okay, yeah, we could do that. And you're just like, these two, like, what is going on? Like, and then they're like, yeah, we can, let's get this done as soon as possible. Yeah, let's call the courthouse. We can do it tomorrow. Sounds good. Yeah. And you're just like.
No, Sarah Styles and Son Bridges, they do such a great job. And she's hilarious. Like, the look on her face when he proposed to her, she was like, wait. So you're basically saying, let's get married. So now I have two problems versus one.
Right.
But I understand where Louis is coming from because, listen, she's not super religious or anything along those lines. And I don't think that she holds divorce to such a high standard either. So I can understand that. Like, listen, you know, we did the whole loophole thing.
Right.
I was going to say that. We did the whole loophole. You got pregnant. And now I'm thinking, like, in order for us to date, we need to get married. And his whole thing is like, Mormons can't get a divorce, but you can divorce me. You know what I mean? So he's always coming up with the loopholes. Like, it's like, what is going on here?
I was going to say, the fact that he's still, I mean, and that the show still has him holding on to his faith the way he does and just still trying to operate in the world, like, you know, through it, but he still like holds, you know, the values of his, you know, of his religion, which is, you know, I can respect that, where he's just like, hey, you know what? I know we did this, and according to the rules, like you said, like you just mentioned.
I'm glad the show clarified too, because when the first time he said we can just get a divorce, I was like, so you have all these staples around getting married and having sex, but you can get a divorce? But they clarified, so I'm glad they did.
And yeah, I just like the like you said, just their pairing. First of all, I love how she just always has like the straight face, like, even, and that's part of her comedy, is that just everything is delivered with a like, what? No, I'm not, like, don't call me. Yeah, I got all 5 of your message. You know, it's just I love her delivery. Shout out to you,
Sarah. We love you,
yeah,
Sarah.
So, but yeah, so it looks like they're going to be moving ahead with this. I want to see how that's gonna turn.
And you make a really good note, because I'm glad to see how, like, again, that's always been her delivery. Even from when she was like beating Rick in season 1, he's like, pick up the phone, call. Right. She's always had that like straight up delivery. Again, women who work in Hollywood, you don't have time to BS. You don't have time to beat around the bush. You have to be very direct, yet, you know, have a great sense of humor. So I love that that's also reflected in the show. But to her and Louis, I think it's wonderful to see that Louis, she's actually starting to pick up and like a little bit of his quirky ways. When he sent the muffins with the note about her mom, and she was like, well, you know, you sent the muffins, it was sweet, my mom is dead. Right. You know, but she didn't take offense to it. So that shows me that, you know, she's warming up to Louis. Right. We love Louis over here.
And I think, like you said, the fact that he's trying, you know, she knows, like, hey, he's trying, because, you know, he was even beating himself up about that when she was like, yeah, you know, my mom's dead. He's like, oh, and she was like, it's okay. It would be kind of weird to get muffins from my dead mom, but it's okay. You know, you could kind of see it was endearing to her. Like, he's trying.
He's trying really hard, you know, and, you know, he's trying to do the right thing. Poor, good old Louis. But, you know, now we're going to pretty much, and you're going to get a courthouse marriage, they said?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So
they're not playing around. It's like, okay, we got the baby. Right. Baby's on the way. We need to realize or figure out if we actually like each other, and if we really want this to work. And let's just go ahead and get married and make it work.
Which seems like everything in kind of reverse. Like, hey, we're having the baby. Now let's get to know each other. You know, and it's like, okay.
Listen, shameless plug, okay? Right. Married at first sight, okay?
There we go.
But literally, that's kind of how it went. But, you know, we're going to transition because we have so many great things for everyone today. And in addition to just going over the episode, we also have our wonderful segment, Mobs and Movies, where my wonderful co-host over here, Terry, really gives us an educational lesson on American gangsters.
I do it,
and I just kind of focus in on like my mob and movie moment, right? So who you want me to go? Just kind of throw it in. Where's our intro music, Josh? Hey.
And that's us.
Super thug.
Right.
Thug T. Thelma is for thug.
Right.
What do you mean?
We got T squared right here.
High five. You're not leaving. Go. What do you mean? Okay, guys. So for me, we definitely have to get into the mob and movie moments, right?
Let's do it.
I'm going to focus on Miles. Like, I love this character. He's just, wonderful in everything that he does, and his character development continues to just be outstanding. And I think for me, the mob, or maybe I should start with the movie moment. So Wes, you know, the director, Amy Adams, flashback, yes. So when Wes was sitting across from Miles, and he was just like, listen, let me break it down to you how it really works in Hollywood. And he almost lets him know that he's been blackballed, right? He goes, do you remember Ellen Gorwolf or whatever? And she was like, yeah, I remember Ellen. Well, her dad is her dad's dad. Like, is my dad's boss. Like, I'm a big, like, that's the boss's 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 boss.
He's
you know what I mean?
He's up there on the food chain.
He's up there on the food chain. And that was the young lady who was with Amy Adams' agent when you roughed him up. So now I'm sitting here across from you and letting you know that, she called her dad. Her dad called my boss, and you're no longer on the movie. Right. And I think that realization for Miles was really hard because he's such a tough guy. You know what I mean? He gets his way, and he's been proven to get his way. But Wes sitting across from him, just letting him know you've been blackballed in Hollywood, that was a real life come to Jesus, bring you back to reality moment, And I guess my mob moment for Miles would be when he didn't take it really well. He didn't take it well at all.
Not at all.
The second Wes let him know that like he's been blackballed from the movie, he attacks him in the middle of his office. So I think that having that contrast back and forth was really important for us to see. But even for him to have a moment, Miles have that moment being in the office, roughing up Wes, and it's just like, whoa, where am I?
Right.
So I'm glad that we keep tiptoeing between those two worlds in such a beautiful mirroring effect every episode. So I'm really excited.
And to kind of piggyback off that, like you said, the fact that he kind of caught himself right as he was about to really lay into Wes, it's kind of, like you said, I think that realization kind of set in, and it'll be interesting going forward because it's like after you do that to someone, you can't be like, hey, homie, like, it'll probably be like, yeah, I'm not gonna work with you. You obviously assaulted like other agents. Like, I feel like he's quick.
The word is gonna start to spread.
Yeah, he's quickly kind of burning bridges. So after a while, I mean, you're gonna probably need these people if you're trying to do these movies, at some point.
But you know what, Wes, you are not off the hook. You told him to be persuasive. You didn't do your due diligence to know how persuasive he really is.
Like how you would take that,
So Miles is clearly spiraling, but give us our little like history moment today. We would love to know.
For the people out there, all the AfterBuzzers. So last week we talked about Griselda Blanco, who I feel that Amara is really based after.
The godmother.
And like I said, if you just looked her up, you could see her history. She's no joke. Well, being that we are in the Los Angeles area, there is a big gangster that in the 1980s. When the whole crack epidemic hit the city and really like the country, but there was a specific individual that really took it to the next level, and he goes by the name of Ricky Donnell Ross, aka Freeway Rick Ross.
Oh man!
Yes, indeed. Which the rapper is actually that's where Rick Ross gets his name from.
Absolutely.
So he was responsible essentially for flooding LA with crack and cocaine in the 80s and got the whole thing started. And just for everybody who's out there, if anybody's a gangster aficionado like myself, check out the book or go online. It's called Dark Alliance by Gary Webb, and it spells out the whole Rick Ross story, like how he got connected with people in Colombia and all this stuff, and how basically his story came about, how he became basically one of the most notorious drug gangsters, like especially in the LA area.
Oh, it's so unfortunate too, because that is just like the fact that we can really trace it back to this one person for the most part. You know what I mean? It's really unfortunate because it also proves how avoidable it was. You know what I mean? Maybe not avoidable in the most immediate sense, but definitely something could have been done to slow it down.
And how many lives just that affected?
How many lives were lost?
And I mean, that was...
oh my gosh. But I mean, that's the thing I love about this show. You know what I mean? We laugh a little, we enlighten a little, but we also educate, right?
It's an amazing, like you said, just read this story, either look, I could go on. I mean, there's so much information, so you could do it. But he was kind of highlighted for today just because kind of riding on the coattails of, like I said, Griselda. Like, he was definitely a big person in the recent drug trade, and especially since we're here in Los Angeles. Man, he had a huge effect on the community out here, or what he did. In the community, affected,
absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. We love you. Thank you. Always dropping nuggets.
I do what I can.
Nuggets of wisdom.
I'm that gangster.
He's our American gangster encyclopedia over here.
Not in the life. I was like, but I know stuff. I'm fascinated by it.
Not in your plaid. Boy, sit down.
Right.
Okay, let's go ahead and transition really quickly into news and gossip. Woo-woo. What's the streets talking?
What the streets say.
Alrighty, guys. So off top, I'm so excited to bring this to you. Chris O'Dowd is just so hilarious, and he did a little bit on TBS this morning, earlier this week. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys what he had to say about success. And believe it or not, it sounds like something that Miles would say. So let's go ahead and take a look.
You had confidence. Yeah.
Of course I am, but the truth is I never had very high expectations for myself. So all of this is wonderful, but even if it hadn't been, I don't know if it would have mattered so much.
Oh, wow. Low standards. The secret to success.
Yes,
Chris O'Dowd's
So I kind of like that he was just like really chill about it, right? It's like low standards. I didn't have such big expectations on myself, and I really just followed my heart. I did what I wanted to do. So I think that that's something that every creative should hear, but also at the same time, there's something, you don't hear that a lot, right? Where it's just like, I really just didn't put too much pressure on myself. I just had the confidence in knowing that it was going to happen.
Right. No, it's like you said, I mean, it's one of those things in Hollywood that I hear from some of my friends who are, actors, things like that. It's like, hey, just, when they go in for like auditions, they were like, sometimes the ones that I just kind of went in and was like, hey, I'm just going to do this. I didn't put it, those the roles or things that I book, because they're just like, hey, I was just.
It didn't.
Yeah, there's no pressure. So.
It's so funny. A funny story about Chris O'Dowd. He and Dominic West, who's like on The Affair, Showtime, they both auditioned for like this one film, and the film ended up like not being cast. And so every time they see each other, they have this joke like, we were so bad. They pulled the plug on the whole movie.
Wow.
So I think it's really cute. It's really funny to also see, because like in this business, you network across, like Issa Rae likes to say, so you grow up and you come up with a lot of people as well. So we also have a little clip, guys. I love Lucy. I really do. Like, I've been a big fan of hers since the second I saw her on Power. So like, I'm a big fan of hers. And she was talking, Lucy Walters did a film like a few years ago, and she was just doing a little background about the film, and she was asked why she decided to be an actor, and I thought it was really funny. So let's take a look at that.
I became an actor because it was the only career where they actually encourage you to cry.
True.
And I'm a really good crier.
She is one of my favorite criers.
An asset in pretty much any other job, but it's like a skill.
It's a full-blown skill, sis. She is a great crier. Like, do you have any favorite criers? I really like her. I really like Sophia Bush. I really like Claire Danes. And I know a lot of people don't like the way Claire Danes cries because she goes in for it. But I like that, girl. Bring the drama. Bring the drama. Halle Berry, got a shout out to her too.
That's a
Happy
good
belated.
question. I'm gonna have to start thinking, like, as I pay attention, to be like, man, that is a good.
She's a good
And I'm talking about
crier.
in terms of cries, like where I actually feel like, oh man, where they pull me in.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna have to get back to you on
You
that
have to.
one.
You have to. But let's transition into some predictions.
Yes.
Really quickly, predictions. What are you thinking is gonna happen?
And now you're after.
All right.
Predictions.
And now you're AfterBuzz.
It's like the remix right there.
Yeah.
Predictions.
So for me, like I said, one, going forward with Miles, like we just talked about the blow up in Wes's office, how that is going to affect him going forward. First of all, is he really off this movie, or is he going to strong arm his way
Back on.
back on? So I wouldn't.
He's like,
put
I
it
got
past him.
Amy. I got
Right.
Amy Adams in this. I get to rip the benefits.
He might just go to the top, even the top guy, and be like, "You put me back on it," And they're like, "Okay, Miles."
Oh my gosh, no.
But yeah,
That would. You're saying like Ellen's dad?
yeah,
That would be
just-
insane.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him at this point, because if you saw the look in his eye, he had that I see red.
He's upset.
So yeah, I want to see what's going to happen with him in this movie, because if he gets off that, you kind of feel like he doesn't have, like, he was banking on, like, man, I'm excited about this next movie. Let's get on there. So if he's off that, and like we said, he crashed the telephone pole. I don't know if he was like depressed about it, So what could happen with that? Because he could go in a downward spiral, which could affect his relationship with,
Absolutely.
or I mean, the whole the court case. I mean, maybe if they catch him, like, what were you drinking or doing?
Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
you're
so-
definitely.
Oh yes, with the custody. And honestly, I think for me it's the custody battle. I don't know that Katie is really equipped or honestly aware of how serious it's going to get, because Get Shorty. We're not leaving without Shorty.
Right.
Like, I can't believe that she would even ask for full custody, but I honestly believe that she didn't intend it to be as much of a dart and a stab as it came off,
Right.
in my opinion. So
And depending on how that goes, I mean, how his relationship with his daughter might kind of, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, if that, maybe she doesn't see him as often, or maybe
Yeah.
that affects him where he's like, I don't feel like, you know.
yeah, I definitely understand that completely. I'm excited to see if Yago really finds out what goes on with Blizz, like who really uncovers that death. And that little awkward moment during the robbery when they left the chair behind,
Yes.
I wonder if he left some prints on there, you know,
That's-
because I feel like that's going to come back to us as well. But, you know, we just have to kind of wrap things up. We could talk about this forever. Okay,
Yes,
so
indeed.
tweet us, and we're going to tell you where to do that. Tweet us, talk to us on Instagram. We love this show, and I know you guys love it too. But big shout out to Chris O'Dowd, because, you know, he did have his new film, Juliet Naked, that just came out August 17th. So go check those out. That's already in theaters. He's amazing, and he's definitely like playing this guy who's obsessed with Tucker Crow. It's a whole thing. Like, there's a book about it, so go check it out. He's amazing. But again, I'm your host, Thelma Mbaezue-Daniel. You can catch me on Instagram at Thelmy and Twitter at Moxie_soul. Go ahead and tell them where they can catch
And
you.
I'm Tenera Williams. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TenerW.
All right. Well, straight to the point.
Right.
Okay. Thank you guys. We're so blessed to always have you guys with us, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.